Literacy A, B, C's. Lesson 1. A stands for address the prompt, much in the same way you would address an envelope you plan to send in the mail. Now let's look at 5 sample prompts related to Foothiller Pride. Number 1, state your pride level. Number 2, identify the parts of Foothiller Pride. Number 3, demonstrate how you are prepared in class to a new student. Number 4, explain the purpose of being involved in the classroom. And number 5, evaluate the value of Foothiller Pride to the Grossmont community. We'll use these 5 prompts as examples throughout our discussion about addressing the prompt. So what are the basics? Well, just tap. Just tap? What does that mean? Just tap. Task, audience, purpose. Task is the way you are writing. It is the road your response will take. A task may require a short, quick response or a long, thoughtful answer. The way you respond to a task may be writing a word, a list, a sentence, a paragraph, or essay. Each response is different to the task. Let's look back at our 5 sample prompts, starting with the first 2. Prompt 1 asks you to state, which requires only a word response, while Prompt 2 asks you to identify parts, which needs a list. Both prompt responses are short and quick and need no further analysis. Simply answer. The last 3 prompts need more analysis. Prompt 3 asks you to demonstrate how, which can be completed in a sentence. Prompt 4 needs you to explain, which requires a more thorough paragraph answer. And finally, Prompt 5 asks you to evaluate a more thoughtful task, which requires an essay response. After you have identified the task, you need to identify your audience. Audience is the person you are writing to. Audience defines the type of language you will use in your response. Your audience may be informal, as if you are writing to a friend. For example, you might greet a friend with, "What up?" Audience can be general, similar to a stranger, so you might change your greeting to, "Hello." Or audience may be formal, changing the greeting to, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen." Looking at our remaining 3 sample prompts, the first states to a new student, making your audience informal. The second does not identify an audience in the prompt, so the audience is unnamed, which makes it a general audience. Lastly, the final prompt states to the Grossmont community, making your audience formal. The final step to addressing the prompt is identifying the purpose. Purpose is the reason you are writing. It is the map that guides your response. A prompt's purpose may be to tell, making your response narrative, to explain, making your response expository, or to convince, making your response argumentative. Once again, let's return to the sample prompts. The first asks you to demonstrate, which means you need to tell a story in your response. The second asks you to explain, which means you need to give information that makes the meaning clearer. Finally, the last prompt asks you to evaluate, which means you need to convince your reader of your opinion on the subject. Now you know how to address the prompt. Just tap.